Getting Mauled by the Crawls by bobarrgh. A number of years ago, I was the developer administrator for a large international website for a Fortune 100 company. As with many websites, my life became a living nightmare that followed this schedule. 1. Our European users would try to access the website in the morning. If there was a problem, and sadly, there usually was, they would send me an email. 2. Around 3 o'clock or 4 a.m., I would get up to go to the bathroom. Hey, I'm old, it happens. And check my email. Dang, gotta pee. But this along to our DevOps guy. So, off it would go. By the way, the client was not paying us for instantaneous 24-hour support, which is a little weird given that it was an international site with content in all the major European languages and also Chinese. 3. At 7 a.m., I was at the bus stop waiting for my bus and I would check my email to see if the DevOps guy had gotten my email. Usually, he had not. 4. At 8 a.m., when I got into work, I would check my email again. And at 8:15 a.m., I would call the DevOps guy and ask him to log in and restart the IIS app pool. He would do it and I would notify the European team that everything was back up. By this time, the European team would have been unable to do their work for approximately 3 to 4 hours. 5. I would also renew my request to be given access to the servers so I could log in and do this from home. But upper management always rejected my request. I was the sole programmer, support developer person on this website. Yes, I was the system administrator. But I was not given physical access to the environments. A new website was in the works. So the old website had to be kept limping along until the shiny new one was ready for prime time. And by old, I mean it. The original website had been launched 9 years before, so my system administration privileges were very limited. I wrote a program that I was allowed to put onto the web servers. These programs would ping themselves and try to access a given page. They were set up to do this every 5 minutes. If they did not receive a response, then they would go into a ping every 15 seconds mode. If they did not get a response after the 4th ping, then they would automatically restart the IIS app pool. This reduced the downtime from 3 to 4 hours to approximately 6 minutes. Better. But why were the darn things dying so much? I was doing everything I could, including asking for any and all weblogs and supporting files. The DevOps guy was sick and tired of handling my requests, but he dutifully zipped up the logs and sent them to me. Once I started trying to analyze the files, I realized we had a problem. The log files would not fit into my editor's memory because they were way too big. Oh, I did some tricks and finally got into the files. What I found made my heart sink. This poor little website that was sized to handle maybe 10,000, 20,000 visits per day was getting absolutely hammered by Baidu crawls. We were getting upwards of 7 million web requests each and every day on both servers. When I dug into it, I saw some really weird URLs. Let's pretend like the website was called bobarrgh.com. I saw traffic for AAA, bobarrgh.com, AAB, bobarrgh.com, AAC, bobarrgh.com, and so on, working its way from AAA to Zs. Each of our hundreds of products across all the languages, more than 10 languages, were being requested, each going from AAA to Zs, over and over and over again, based on the requester's information. Due to its age, we constantly ran into limitations. But the one that really hurt the most was that the server hardware was hopelessly out of date and was starting to fail. The physical hardware was co-located at an external provider. There were at least 10 to 20 different Baidu crawlers. We finally talked to the client's marketing team in China and found out they had requested that our site be crawled by Baidu for the China market. However, they had not configured it correctly, and it was crawling all of the URLs on our site, even the ones in French, German, Spanish, Italian, and all the other languages. We finally got them to log into the Baidu dashboard to configure it correctly. We also discovered that when the website had been set up years earlier, someone had put in a wildcard on the subdomain and had not limited it to just www. Somehow, the Baidu crawlers were scanning every single combination of three-letter subdomains, from AAA to Zs. There may have also been some numbers in there as well, such as 1 inch, 2 inches. I don't remember. I'm old. It happens. However, once we got Baidu configured correctly and removed the wildcard domain, everything started working again, and my hair had turned grayer than it had started out in the summer. And I had aged about a decade in 3 short months. And it made logical sense to move the servers into the cloud. So we did so. We worked through a couple of major issues, such as the one caused by a third-party vendor. This third-party vendor was managed by a personal friend of the newly hired client IT director. And he insisted that this other company be involved in the planning and sizing stage. Unfortunately, they sized the database server for the website at 1/2 the size it should have been. And nobody caught it. Well, shame on us, but we got it resolved. We got all the issues resolved and things were fine. Or so we thought. Near the end of the summer, things started happening. The site became bogged down and unresponsive. We had 2 servers that were load balanced. But every now and then, one or the other of the servers would stop handling requests and would roll over and play dead. So we restarted the application pool and everything was great. Until it happened again, and again, and again.